か。せーの。My cabbages! Low, low, man. Oh, my cabbages!
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire. In this legal mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. Hope you guys are having a lovely day today. It is, of course, over here in Asia. We're on Friday. It is Friday night over here in Asia, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful time wherever you are, whether you're in Asia, America, Europe. Shout out to the Euro Bros. Wherever you guys are, I hope you're having a wonderful time. And whether you're joining me via notice from X, via notice from Locals, via notice from YouTube, thank you for coming. Appreciate you guys being here and checking it out. And thank you to the very generous donors that kind of keep us going, keep us alive here on YouTube. I very much appreciate that, and it very much helps us keep this thing going. So first, let's start off by thanking Phoenix DS with a big 20 legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much for kicking it off strong. Yes. Phoenix says, scuff. We're here for the scuff and maybe a little insanity. Thank you. Yes. Today was well, it wasn't scuffed. I was just late because I didn't want to scuff. I was setting things back up. I'd unplugged my mic and kind of rearranged my camera. So I had to fix that stuff before I went live. And I did only set this to, in my defense, I created this live like 10 minutes ago. It's going to have to be brief because I have some work to do tonight. So I have to keep this one pretty short. For me, for my stream lengths, you know, I can go 2 hours, I can go 3 hours. This is going to be probably under an hour. But there's some things I wanted to talk about, some kind of FAFO consequences for both Vitali in the Philippines, and as well as we have a little bit of a Somali update. First, I'm going to start with Vitali, and then we'll move to Somali. So we're kind of going to go in that order. If you're an impatient person and you just want Somali stuff, you can either tune back in a little bit or you can catch the clips. And I want to give a big shout out to my Clipper Eagle. He has been working super hard, and he is very deserving of much love because he's been doing a lot of also behind the scenes work, even behind clips. So if you guys could drop some eagle emojis in the chat for my Clipper, he would appreciate that, just showing him some love there in the chat. But big shout out. He does a lot of work on this channel to get those clips out within 48 hours. So big love for Eagle. Piotr Suvala gifted 20 legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Let's get some of this.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Thank you so much, Piotr. You know Ramsey is coping really hard when he sees those come in. Also, Sitsadar Luchai, thank you so much, Kopkun Cup, for the 5 legal mindset memberships. Glad you made it on time. I saw you in the chat there, like, I made it. I'm like, yes, you got here. You're here. Zazat, welcome as a new member. D&D, welcome as a new member. Crypto Capra, welcome as a new member. And Doug Diaz, thank you for the 5 legal mindset memberships. Appreciate that. Let's get some emotional cabbage.
Emotional cabbage.
V-Man Production. A member 4 months is covering this topic. Comes with a lot of cabbage. You know it does. Lex Ludo says, good morning from the Big Apple. Good morning. Shout out to the people wherever you are in America and wherever else. Hope you're doing well. Rigo for 10 says, late and hey, might as well accept that SK courts are going to accept his insanity plea. That is not happening ever. The insanity plea is not a thing. Salvador Calgrio del Carril for 100 Argentina. Andrew, you should think of a live stream as a courtroom. Punctuality, my man. I genuinely try, but once again, when you set things kind of late, it can be difficult, but I do genuinely try to be here on time. All right, and also Fallen Hero, thank you for that membership. Also a quick shout out to everybody over there on my locals, Danielle and everybody else joining over there. Thank you for that. Also big shout out to the mods, JP Ravenfire, Danielle, Don Baca, Professional Gentleman, JP. Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate all you guys. All right. So let's get right into it today. So we're going to start with Vitali. Vitali obviously, if you saw my other update, Vitaly was caught. He was widely covered by Philippine social media. And let me just show you one here. Also, I'm going to give a thank you to a mysterious person named Frank who sent me many emails. But I will say this. I have so much appreciation for my Filipino and Filipina, my Pinoy brothers and sisters, because you guys were on this. I mean, I was getting so many messages from Filipinos and Filipinas on this. It was crazy. I was getting just my inbox had like I think afterwards 20 different messages from people that are either expats in the Philippines or natives, and they were on this. They spread this on social media. They got the message out there about this guy, and within one day, he's arrested. And I think that in terms of getting people off the streets, I think people could absolutely stand to take a lesson from the Philippines. I think that's how quickly these people need to be taken off the streets. These dirt bags, these absolute scum that are going around on these criminal sprees in other countries. Because mind you, with Vitaly, it wasn't just that one day. He harassed somebody in Boracay. He crashed into an old man on a tricycle, or what they call a trike. So he did a whole bunch of things which were criminal in the Philippines. It wasn't just a one-day thing, much like Ramsey, much like Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail. They're on criminal streaks. This is what they do. And while you might say any one specific thing might be a quote-unquote minor crime, the fact is when you string all of these together, and you put them all together and say they were doing all of these things, it does become worse. And looks like the media in the Philippines, and this is something that, once again, thank you to Frank. I'm not going to dox your last name or anything, but thank you for sending me those emails. I got all of them. They were on top of it. This is translated. It's in Tagalog, and I don't expect I expect my Filipino brothers and sisters to know Tagalog, but not the rest of you. It's got the translations on the bottom. You can see here. I'll turn the volume down a little bit.
Aakalain mong simpleng vlog lang yan. Ang lalaking nakaitim na t-shirt, nilapitan ng isang ginang na naglalakad sa labas ng mall.
I'm gonna rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you money.
Pero ang babae, hindi siya pinansin at dire-diretso lang na naglakad. Ang foreigner naman, may pahabol pang panlalait.
Okay, because you got a COVID mask, you liberal. Go get your vaccine.
Sa sumunod na kuha, pumasok ang lalaki sa isang
once again, they were right on top of this. This is what I want to kind of point out. Right on top of the coverage here. They were spreading this around on social media. They were clipping this. They were sharing this. And I think that goes a long way. I think and this is actually 6 minutes of coverage of this. We've obviously watched this. You've got the police officers here. You've got the footage. I'll play this here of him coming in.
Kahapon, tuluyan ng naaresto si Vitaly. Ayon kay Bureau of Immigration's Intelligence Division Chief Fortunato
arrested, we're going to get into this, by the Bureau of Immigration, and we're going to get into why that's important.
Idineklarang undesirable foreign national si Vitaly, kaya ito naaresto sa bisa ng isang mission order. Sa ngayon, nasa detention facility sa Camp Bagong Diwa ang vlogger habang hinihintay ang deportation proceedings. Para sa 1PH, Ian Suyu, News 5.
So that was the report on the local news. So that was a clip that got shared around a lot on, Philippine social media, and obviously, social media is the way things get passed around nowadays. So people shared that out and found this guy very, very quickly. And another thing I want to point out, we're going to read an article here, is they're currently trying to hunt down his team, right? His whole team. And a lot of people, especially the Filipinos and Filipinas in the audience, they were getting very mad, not just at him, but also at that team. And I think that's justifiable because, to be honest, he wouldn't have been able to go as far as he did without people making excuses for him, essentially for covering for him and lying and saying, oh yeah, this, sorry for this guy, right? Unless they were there apologizing and covering for this guy, he probably would have been in much more trouble even sooner than he was. It wouldn't have taken that long for him to get in trouble if he was by himself. If he wasn't there with the cameraman, with the other team of locals that was deflecting things for him, I think he would be in much bigger trouble. I frankly do. Wise Man Gamer, and quicker, even quicker, like instantly. You're the real life Phoenix, right? Thank you. I do have that as my my GIF is the objection from Phoenix Wright, even though I'm not really I'm not really that type of courtroom lawyer, but I do appreciate that. I do like the graphics, and it's a good game. Joppy 1992 says for 100 Swedish krona, I don't know you or anyone else in the web has managed to clarify if it's possible for Vitaly to be deported to Russia after serving the prison sentence, assuming there'll be any. Well, one of the facts here, and this is something that's really interesting to me, is I thought he was Russian American. I thought he had both passports. People have said he lived in the U.S. since he's 14, but you can live in the U.S. and not be naturalized. So maybe he's just a permanent resident. Maybe he just has a green card and doesn't have a passport. I don't know, but that's what the Philippines authorities were reporting. Once again, I don't think it's material. Could they deport him to Russia? Sure, they could, right? They could probably also send him back to the U.S. I think if you've got residence in one country, I think you'd have the option of going to one or the other. Permanent residence is often very close to citizenship. So if he has that in America, which I assume he does at this point, then he could choose to go there, I imagine. I don't think they would elect to deport you to a certain country if you had residence in another and you wanted to go there. I think that's the way that might play out. But we'll get into the deportation side because I looked up the law at the insistence of some Filipinos in the comments, which once again, I read the comments and I look at that and people that suggest this, I was reading stuff. Also, quick shout out to Angel Chase, who was very helpful. Thank you for your emails. I appreciate you a lot. He can't vlog while in custody of immigrations, and that's the best thing. And that's why I've said this with Somali, and I'll say this with Vitaly, the process is the punishment. And I'm going to get into something that the Filipinos put me on, which I think is a great punishment for him and can see him behind bars for a while, actually longer than the punishment for some of the crimes, because some of the crimes only allow you to be locked up for like 30 days max. But there's other ways to keep him stalled out for quite a while. We're going to talk about that. Apparently, allegedly. Once again, I'm not a Filipino lawyer. I'm not a Philippines lawyer. Obviously, I'm an American lawyer. But this was information that was told to me by locals. So I'm just relaying that information like a game of telephone. Spicy Caesar for 1,000. Thank you so much. Philippine Pesos says, I was wondering, have you ever seen the detention center in Camp Bagong Diwa? All I can say is it ain't comfortable. I'm going to show photos of that. Just wait. I got it. Okay, we're going to get there. That's one of the reasons why I want to do this episode, is because of this. I want to show everybody what it looks like. And I'm just going to show you like a couple photos, right? I'm not going to show you like anything graphic or intense. But once again, I'm going to show you where he was staying, the place he was staying, and where he is now. And if that's not, once again, the difference between those two is massive. From going to staying in what is debatably one of the nicest, if not the nicest hotel in all of the Philippines, debatably, right? There's many nice hotels in the Philippines, many beautiful hotels, but the Shangri-La at the Fort in BGC is one of the nicest hotels in the Philippines. It's a 5-star hotel. It's quite nice. Going from that to the detention center is such a huge shift. I mean, that is a complete shift in quality there. And it's glorious. Crafty Beer says, as they say, FAFO. And he's finding out. Francis Bautista said, thank you for coming. This is my pleasure. I think this needs to get out there. And I think people need to know, you cannot mess with these countries. They need to have a strong signal. And we need to say, look, it's not just Somali, right? This message is not going to end with Johnny Somali. This is something that needs to be out there in large. It needs to be out there for all these countries, right? And not even just Asia. Like, let's go beyond Asia and look at the world, right? You cannot come to countries and disrespect them. I actually saw a clip, an article about this YouTuber who was trying to contact this small island. It's called the North Sentinel Island, where there's these protected indigenous people. He was trying to like YouTube giving these guys like a coconut and a can of Coke, and he got in trouble with that. He got arrested and got in trouble for that. And by the way, the same island, the locals actually killed somebody because they're an uncontacted tribe that's generally hostile to everybody who is a non-local. But it's just crazy how people will go to insane lengths for the content, right? And they were willing to break laws, they're willing to do whatever because it's content. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. Big Buddha says for 10, someone sent this in chat and I thought it was a good question. Why doesn't the fact that they have teams and premeditating their crimes for profit elevate their shenanigans to organized crime? I agree with you, but my concern is that, number one, Many of these jurisdictions aren't set up like that. They don't have RICO statutes that are calibrated to streamers. What I think needs to happen here to do this, I think they need to clearly change the law. I think this is a part where we need to add laws in here for these nuisance streamers that are catered to them to aggravate crimes, to make them serious and give people serious jail time. If the local teams were getting jail time for assisting, think about it. If Hank Yu in Korea and all whoever the Filipinos and Filipinas are, there were several of them. It wasn't just one, right? If they were getting consequences for this, I think that would have prevented it from happening in the first place, because they would have said, no, we can't do this, and we're not going to help you, and we're not going to film this for you, right? I'm not going to be your cameraman because I know I'm going to face a consequence. King Luja gifted 1. Thank you so much. Luis said, do you think when countries start heavily penalizing them, it will deter them? Yes. 100%. Phoenix says, so he gave up his stay at the Hilton of the Philippines to the Hanoi Hilton at immigration terminals. Some 39 IQ there. I know, super stupid. Also, ENGRDL says, fun fact, Philippine courts usually hand out the max penalty. Nice. It will only be lowered to the minimum penalty if he has good conduct during his jail stay. Well, we're going to see he's already kind of got a bad attitude. Hagfish says, on behalf of all Filipinos, we thank you, Legal Mindset. My pleasure. I love the Philippines. I love the people of the Philippines. It's a place I'm planning on actually going maybe in May. So hell, maybe we'll do a Philippines meetup. Maybe we're going to do a nice Philippines meetup. Maybe we'll do it in BGC to make up for all the bad things he did. We'll have a nice BGC meetup, or somewhere in Manila. But I do really appreciate everybody who came out, and I do appreciate the support. Everyone's been awesome on that side in the Philippines, and thank you so much, everybody, for helping me, sharing information. You guys have been awesome. VRed Fox 5 says, nuisance streamers should prepare some emotional damage. It's true. Baron Channel for 40 Thai bot as a CC says, no nuisance streaming allowed IRL. I'm for it. Arashi for 5 says, nuisance streamers come where I live, and it's straight into the bayou to swim with the alligators. Just hope the gators don't get food poisoning. They are kind of nasty. I actually am worried about the gators. And real quick, Fitty Tucker dropping Fitty Legal Mindset memberships. You know what all those nuisance streamers are looking at my stream and doing.
You are coping the ceiling. You just
They are so mad when people do well with positive content instead of negative content. Thank you so much, Fitty Tucker. Deeply appreciate that. And if you received a membership from a gift, please say thank you. All right, let's turn to the article that I want to read today and kind of get this moving. So right here, we've got an article. This is from ABS CBN. This is local kind of Manila news. I actually got this from their Twitter, their X account. And I just read it. I think it's a really good article. It's kind of dual language, like English and Tagalog. So I'm just going to read the English because my Tagalog is not great. Great. It's actually really cool language. And for English speakers, it's actually relatively easy to learn. But I think because people are so fluent in English in the Philippines, we just divert to that. But Russian blogger Vitaly Zorovetsky showed no remorse after his arrest for allegedly harassing Filipinos in Bonifacio Global City, the Bureau of Immigration said. Skip down here. Zorovetsky was tagged as an undesirable foreign national after allegedly harassing security guards and stealing an industrial fan from a restaurant in Taguig City on Monday morning, March 31st. Here he is, by the way, in the station. And you can see, I don't want to get too much ads over here, but you can see that he was kind of rolling his eyes there. The YouTuber has been transferred to the Bureau of Immigration's facility in Camp Bagong Diwa. I'm gonna show you that, and is awaiting deportation proceedings. So we're going to get into that as well. A separate change.org petition has accused the vlogger of verbally assaulting a Filipino surfing instructor with vulgar, sexually degrading remarks during a safety briefing. He allegedly refused to follow safety rules and later told his followers to destroy the surfing building by leaving fake malicious reviews online. That's actually a crime in many places. I don't know about the Philippines, but that is actually a crime, right? That's business defamation. So he's encouraging you to engage in business defamation. There are now, this is great, searching for the Filipino cameraman. Investigators are seeking to identify the Filipino cameraman who was with Zordovetsky in his blog. That is great. He said police would file complaints for cybercrime, unjust vexation, and theft against Zordovetsky later in the day. So obviously the Filipino cameraman will be a clear accomplice, right? And even the Filipino cameraman, he's like, we committed a lot of crimes today. So it showed that he knew what he was doing. Like he actually knew what he was doing. So this guy better be hiding out in the provinces or something, because he's going to get found. Like he's going to get found. And he's going to have some consequences, I'm very sure, for being party to that and for enabling that. Let's see here. Somebody on Locals asked, how did the building inspection of my complex go? There's some repairs to my place. The elevators are down. I'm fine, but there's some work to be done. Let's talk about it that way. But no, we're okay here in Bangkok with the earthquake. Thank you for asking, though. JP Ravenfire for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that, JP. Very based. Guys, please say thank you to JP, not only for the gift memberships, but for being an awesome mod. Thank you, JP. Wingod says, sorry for the last question. I mean, why is Vitaly not in jail for his attack of jumping on assaulting a woman in Miami? He should have had the opportunity to travel. I have not looked into that. So I don't know whether he settled with the woman and got out. I don't know how he got out of that. I do know, I think I read an article that originally he paid bail. So I'm not sure what the resolution, maybe there was a private settlement or something happened there. I would need to do history. Obviously, I usually concern myself with the more immediate stuff. So for example, in the case of Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail, I'm focusing more on Korea, not what happened in Japan or what happened in Israel or what happened in the US. I do bring that up in passing, but to go into detail on stuff that is effectively legally dead, right? So whatever that was at this point is kind of legally dead, insofar as it's not going to be brought as a charge years later when it wasn't brought then. So I'd have to look into that the legal conclusion there. But I will look a little bit more into that, because that was something that I said, I need to look more into why he wasn't sitting behind bars, because that was pretty bad. He punched a random woman in the face who was just jogging in Miami. Crazy stuff. Jarma Vinanen, thank you as a new member. Randy Matsunaga says, for $4.99, Vitaly is screwed. That country's justice system is slower than the US DMV process. Hopefully he ends in a jail worse than any get it. Oh, we're about to watch. We're just watch. Alpha says, morning from Texas. I'm glad Philippines is on the case. Their pests are finding out, do not mess with Southeast Asia and their polite culture. Respect goes both ways. Universal truth. Exactly. I think that, cultures that end up really respecting others are cultures that have had a past that was violent, and they've said, look, we know we have the capacity for violence, right? I mean, look at Japan, extremely polite culture, but there were points in their history where their culture was extraordinarily violent. So it's not news to any of them that they have the capacity within them culturally and historically to be violent, right? We all have that capacity, right? And when that capacity exists, and other people have the ability to do very violent things, you tend to be polite. What's the old saying? An armed society is a polite society. Now, obviously, that can apply differently in different cultures, but you get what's going on here is when there's consequences to actions, right? People tend to act right. If there's no consequence to actions, then people tend to act crazy and do extreme things. Phoenix DS gifted 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Okay, sound warning. It's going to be a little loud, so turn down your headphones a little bit, because we're going to get some emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Rayobi said, off topic, but there was a Christian missionary who went to North Sentinel Island believing he could convert it to Christ, knowing that it's illegal to go there. The NSI inhabitants could die to disease. They were exposed. Yes, that's exactly what I just spoke about. So when I was talking about the guy who went to the uncontacted tribe, that was really crazy. And this same thing, the missionary actually ended up dying. He was struck by a bow. They dragged his body on the beach. And they buried it, and they never recovered the body. A YouTuber tried to go out recently for clout and give these guys a Coke and a coconut. like a can of Coca-Cola and a coconut, and he got arrested for that. So once again, people are trying crazy things. Okay, this is a good question. Momo Baby says, random question. Since you're an American lawyer, can you practice in your current area of residence? If you do you have to pass the bar? I am not a Thai lawyer. I'm not a South Korean lawyer. I'm not a Japanese lawyer. I'm not a Philippines lawyer. However, I'm an American lawyer, and you can practice American law anywhere. Specifically, the law that's most relevant when I'm abroad is immigration law, because immigration applies to people that want to come back in the United States. So if you're interested in immigrating to the United States and you're citizen of a different country, right? I can practice that anywhere in the world. That's why there's local American attorneys and attorneys in many countries that are around the world helping folks get to those other places, right? So that is absolutely allowed, right? And there's specific carve-outs and different treaties, et cetera. For example, in Thailand, there's a very specific treaty as it relates to American lawyers practicing American law abroad. So these sort of things are covered. It is an interesting question. And obviously, wherever you go, you should make sure that you are covered by relevant treaties or regulations. And there is a big distinction between practicing U.S. law and practicing local law, right? If you were to practice local law, you have to pass their local bar, right? Which is very difficult and probably not in your local language, right? So the biggest problem is trying to understand legal terms in another language. That is a massive undertaking. Most people don't know legal terms in their own language, much less a different language. Forever Summer says, since the current U.S. government is deporting even permanent residents outside the U.S., maybe they'll deport him also to Russia. That would be hilarious. Phoenix Diaz says, when the wall's closing in, I wonder if the cameraman is going to crack soon when the internet begins to look for him. I think he may. And then, yeah, that becomes better. Jopi says, if the punishments get harder, then they can't stream anymore and the cops get involved. It'll make causing trouble meaningless since they only do it for monetization. It's like a plea for insanity. I think the biggest thing is cutting off the money. So the quicker you get them and the quicker they are not streaming, the more this is going to be effective. In addition, targeting the platforms and the ways they make money is good by putting pressure on Kick, on all these other parties, the way they're making money. Obviously, YouTube, Twitch, whoever else, but mainly these people are on Kick. Put pressure on Kick and say, hey, Kick, we're not going to put up with this. And you're going to become persona non grata in this, and you're not just your platform, but your principles are going to become persona non grata. We're going to take action against your advertisers. We're going to take action against the people supporting you. I think they need to have a full scale assault on the funding method. And usually you'll notice this when people's money gets taken out. And I say this as a corporate attorney. I was in-house counsel, for several years, and I was in a private firm representing very large companies for a long time. I can tell you this: when they lose advertising revenue, they start paying attention. They really start paying attention. So that would extremely hurt them. And you better believe they would start reining people in. Gray Wolf, Infinity, welcome as a new member. John Paul McKenna, welcome as a new member as well. MLS says, Andrew, I'm gonna have a client for you, migrant from Japan to the US. Need your contact info. You can just email me. I've always had my same email, my account, andrewesquirelive@gmail.com. Boom, just email me. If you got a question, if you got a meme. By the way, somebody sent me a really cool meme. Where's this meme? It's for Johnny Somali, but where is it? Somebody sent me a Kingdom Hearts Somali edit, which was really great. I did appreciate that. Whoever sent this, you're kind of a Chad. This was very funny. It's been a long time since I played Kingdom Hearts, but whoever redid this and made this as a meme, I love you guys. I love the memes. Thank you for that. And Senpai received it and enjoyed it. Okay. King Lou just said, get in contact if you want to go to America. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've been, that's what I do on that side. And then, obviously if you're thinking of coming the other way, I can do a consultation with you. And if you need a local lawyer, I can help you make that connection with a local lawyer that can assist you with anything you need to be legally processed on this side. Chrome Job says, he settled at a court with a jogger, undisclosed amount. Max cringe seeing Vitaly sneaking up on Filipinas accosting after he beat that lady. Question, not SA type crime accosting that way? I don't think what he did in the Philippines, at least the one that we showed in BGC, I didn't see it as sexual. It was just clearly threatening and uncomfortable. But I know that there's other video from Boracay and other places where the sexual comments were made in Boracay. But I don't know if there's a jurisdictional issue because maybe the Boracay police would have to bring that. That's the part of Philippines law. I'm not sure. Can you bring charges in the Philippines in Manila for stuff that happened in Boracay? I don't know. Procedurally, like for example, in America, you would have to bring it in a different state. So I'm not sure how that would go down procedurally. To be honest, since the Bureau of Immigration has him, it seems they're more concerned about deporting him at this point. So let's talk about real quick, and I'm going to get all the rest of yours here. Bama, thank you for the 10 Legal Mindset memberships, and Forever Summer, thank you for the 5, guys. Bama, thank you for the big 10 and another 5. Thank you, guys. We already have over 130 new memberships today, so thank you so much. So let me show you guys where he was staying. So he was staying right here. Is this what type of window is this? This is this one. Okay. So one of the Brave browser has less ads, so I use it, but Chrome is easier to use. Anyways, so this is Shangri-La at the Fort. This is a 5-star place. I have been here many a time. As you can see, the rooms are quite nice. This is not a side of the road motel. The quality here you would get in any Western place. They have spas, they have meeting rooms, right? They have a lot of stuff to do, but certainly it is a very high quality establishment. It is 5-star. Without a doubt. There's several Shangri-Las, but I think the one in the BGC is quite nice. So it is a very beautiful place. It is a very nice place to stay, right? Not to be besmirched by his reputation. I actually know one of the managers there. She's a very lovely woman in the lounge, because a lot of times I would need like a coffee or something, and I just want somewhere nice where I can get on the Wi-Fi and have a coffee. So, I would go down to the lounge at this one, or the one in Ortigas was also nice, or Makati. Was also nice, the Shangri-La chain. So very good people, very good service, really nice place, right? Really nice. That's where he was staying. Now let's meet his current place, shall we? Let's look at where he's at currently. He is at Camp Bagong Diva. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm very sorry, my Pinoy brothers and sisters. This is where he's staying now. Let's tab over here real quick. Here's a picture of some happy people, hanging out inside of this detention center, right? So he went from 5-star to let's tab over further here. This is where he is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure who said in the chat this is getting a 0-star review. Okay. Who told me that? Okay. Bagong Diwa. Okay. I got it. Thank you guys. I love you. We're teaching Andrew Tagalog. But this is, so he went from, this high quality thing to this level of quality. Listen, as could be said, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It could not happen to a nicer guy. Yeah, it looks perfectly fine, right? Looks really comfortable. Like all of that wires, and it looks great. It looks totally fine place to be. Totally the same as 5-star hotel. And I'm sure there's video from the inside. I'm sure that there's other rough stuff. Once again, I don't want to get any in trouble with YouTube or anything else. Just want to comment on that quickly, right? Just want to comment on that quickly. King Bob, thank you for the membership, and Call Me Katie, welcome as a new member. Bama says, so I guess we're finally in the nuisance period, nuisance streamers period. F and run it. Yeah, no, and if we can help, look, chat, if we can help stop this, I am all for it. If we can make a movement to just stop this and cut it off and say, look, enough is enough. This isn't about Somali. This isn't like, as a broader movement. It's not just about Korea. It's not just about Japan. It's not just, it's about largely like the world. I mean, specifically they're targeting Asia, but they need to know that this shit's not going to fly. It's not going to fly in the Philippines. It's not going to fly in Japan. It's not going to fly in Thailand. It's not going to fly in Vietnam or Indonesia or Malaysia or wherever, right? It's got to stop. Call Me Katie says, make the nuisance streamers cope and see. I agree. 5 stars. He might see some stars. Yep. 5-1 ruined chocolate starfish for him. Forever Summer says the cameraman, Sly Kane on Kick, deleted his latest Kick video about his experience with Vitali. Yeah, he's probably running right now. Boston Modern says, while Korea is keeping RKI in their country with no support until he ends up with the cabbages, Philippines is already taking away the nuisance streamer. What a glorious turning point. Now, we're going to talk about Korea in a second, because Korea in their strategy actually has worked. We have proof today that Korea's strategy with Ramzi Khalid Ismail worked. It's a different strategy. Now, that's not to say that it's wrong or whatever. That's their choice. I like the Philippines approach better. I like the arrest them right away approach. I think that's the best way. That's my personal opinion. However, that doesn't mean what South Korea didn't work. In fact, it did work. We're going to see today proof that the strategy that South Korea used worked. But before we get there, let's finish here with the Philippines. I've got one more thing that I want to bring up here that's really relevant. So a lot of the Filipinos and Filipinas, and shout out to everybody once again. There were some great people telling me some law and telling me other things in the chat. Angel Chase, who is a law student and knows about this, says for 249, the venue is the compliance choice. If the crime is in Boracay, the more likely it'll be prosecuted in Calibo, Aklan courts. Okay, there you go. There you go. Good. Very cool. Thank you so much for that. Let's see here. Also, Bucky says, in Philippine detention facilities, do inmates have to rely on family to bring food? I don't actually know about that. That's a very interesting question. I know that some places, but they probably don't let you starve. They're probably not going to let this guy starve. Okay, so let's show you another interesting thing that I found here. So this was the Philippine deportation and detention statutes, which once again, some people in the Philippines directed me to. And this is their provisions about the detention and deportation of foreign nationals. And what I thought was interesting was you actually, when you're waiting for deportation, so this is a good one. Where is this? Okay. Let's pay attention, because procedure is often how you're screwed. Under Section 94, the order of deportation shall be enforced immediately, but in no case shall exceed 3 months from the date it has become final and executive. So right now, what's happening is he is waiting for an order of deportation. He hasn't received one. And apparently, just even receiving one can take a while. They can make you sit in there and wait. Somebody in the comments said they know somebody who's been waiting 2 years, right, to receive a final order of deportation. But even after that, they can keep you. So even when you have this order of deportation, you can be kept for 3 months. And I'm like, well, that is great. That is sort of the process, is the punishment. So essentially saying, hey, even after you get this order of deportation, they can hang on to you for 3 months. And remember, the punishment for some of these crimes, like unjust vexation, appears to be, based on what I read and based on what others said, like 1 month in jail, up to 1 month behind bars. Well, you're getting 3 months if you just keep him in the immigration center, keep him in the immigration deportation center for 3 months. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that procedurally or at all. They're essentially getting 90 days of jail just because you want to, right? And once again, some people may cry and say, oh, what about due process? Don't come to other countries and screw around. By the way, Japan can do the same thing. Japan largely did that with Johnny Somali. They held him for several months before they deported him. And honestly, I think the Philippines should take a page out of Japan's book and say, hey, no, we're just going to hold this guy. We're just not going to do anything procedurally. We're going to sit on it because we don't have to. Legally, we don't have to. We can just sit on this for 3 months and then ship this guy off. So we're going to waste his time. He won't be able to stream. He won't be able to make any money. There's no streaming, and he's screwed. And once again, this is the process being the punishment. Why not? The more you keep these guys from streaming, the better. The more you keep these guys from streaming, the better. Spicy Caesar says, crazy idea. If we can send Vitaly food while he's being detained, let's give him 1 balut a day until he loses his mind. Oh, no. One of my friends here, they said they're going to buy me balut, and it's going to be, it should be fun. I think it's going to be the Vietnamese variant of balut, but still. King Lao This is good evening from Tokyo. I'm from Macau. Cool. Awesome. Macau's an awesome city with a great, interesting history. The Portuguese-Chinese fusion, really interesting, like Hong Kong, but Portuguese. Now working here and living alone. I just want to say, Andrew, and everyone here, you're my hero, saving me from sleepless nights. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it. Don't stay up too late. Don't stay up too late over there in Tokyo. It's still the night is young in Tokyo. But thank you. And I'm glad you enjoy my coverage, and I'm glad you enjoy this and everything else I bring to the table. South Texas says it's being deported to Russia or the U.S. I don't know. I imagine the U.S. Safety Doggo says people like him are why people hate Russians as much as they do. Being one myself, I can hardly blame them. I don't think this is a Russian thing. I don't think people are making this about his race. Like, I haven't seen anybody come up and say this is because he's Russian. The only thing I've seen is this is a nuisance streamer thing. I mean, if anything, he's spent time in America since he's 14. So he was kind of raised in America. If anything, this is kind of America rubbing off. I don't consider this like nuisance streaming as a Russian thing. I think it's more generational even. He cannot leave without facing a charge. That's even better. Nuisance streamers, Delenda Est. I actually don't know what that means. Norman G says, as a new member, welcome. NRGDL says, Philippines prison food is subsidized, but at the bare minimum. Okay. Ditsi says, white meat's on the menu, boys. Some inmate, probably. Zudlander for 50 says, the only barbed wire that might be comfy involves Pamela Anderson. What? Rebecca for 2. Thank you so much. Gamercron says, tall dude plus Filipino jail equals zero comfort. I do not want to go to Filipino jail. I'm a good boy. I do not want to go to Filipino jail. Jan Novak for 50 Czech krona says, were those photos of student housing? Looks familiar to me. University PSD. Oh no. RIP university students. Larry Powell says, can't wait to see Vitaly dancing like Michael Jackson with Filipino prisoners. I don't think that's going to happen, but okay. Zero Sod for 5 says, what are the chances these nuisance streamers will view getting national attention as a challenge since they view authority as a joke? I think some of them are going to escalate. I think some of them are taking my coverage as a challenge, and you actually see that with some of the members, and they're trying to, I mean, obviously they attack me personally, which I just write off. Obviously they're going to say all sorts of nasty things because we're bringing this to light, and so they're going to defame me, say crazy stuff. I don't care. I ignore all of it. I know everything they say. I ignore it. But I think they're going to get more crazy in their actions. And I think some of them are really mad and they're going to try to get more extreme. We saw this with Johnny Somali, where he got drunk. He was running around naked. He was trying to be arrested because he kind of knows he's at the end of his rope and he's screwed. Bien for 5 says, hi there. Vitaly unfortunately has lost the plot for a long time. It's kind of a shame and kind of sad his actions are abhorrent. Some of his earlier pranks were funny. Right? When I'm talking about years and years ago, some of them were funny and some of the stuff was like okay content or good content, right? I don't have a problem with pranks. I really don't, especially if they're not physically harmful or financially harmful to people. It's fine. But there's a line where something is no longer a prank and it's just being an asshole. And I will put 20 baht in the tip jar for that. Sean Alex says the Vitaly rabbit hole is a wild one. He has a history doing horror things. Yeah, I know. And if you go down those rabbit holes, it can take hours. Maybe we do that on a future stream, but that not for today. Phoenix says if Asian countries implement a firewall that filters out kick and party, that would hurt them. Yes, it would definitely hurt them. Call me Katie dropped 10 legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much. FU said Mubohai fam. FAFO. Shout out to all my Filipinos. Go Josh says for good boy legal mindset. Thank you. Marshall Jed Cooper says I love Balut. Cabbages for Vitaly. Got a supplier. I think it's cabbages for Johnny, and Balut is too good for Vitaly. We got to find something worse. Rayobi said bootleg ninja let himself become a geriatric Fauci tuber. FAFO in the Philippines is a death sentence in it, and Philippine officers can take their time. Good. Makad Matatag Pinoy, even though I'm not Pinoy. Okay, sorry. I know I said that wrong. My Filipino brothers and sisters, please forgive me. Rebecca Louise says I was inspired to learn Korean. Andrew, cool. Started to recognize short words. So cool. You know what the characters mean. Thank you. Yeah. Very basic. My Korean is very basic. To be honest, I'm spending a lot of time learning Thai right now. So I'm really paying attention to that. So yeah, no, I'm trying to focus on one language at a time. But thank you. And I love learning languages. I think it's an awesome thing, and you can do it at any age. And one of the best ways to respect the culture is to learn the language. Straight up. I mean, if you're in a country, one of the best ways to say that you love a country and you respect them is to learn their language, even a little bit. Just try a little bit. Les is a new member. Thank you. King Lao says, following your analyzation of Johnny Somali makes me feel like I'm not that bad of a person. Again, thank you so much. My pleasure. King Bob said, let's send him a picture of Nelson from The Simpsons saying, ha ha. Norbert Froelich says, Guten Tag, legal mindset. No disrespect, since corruption is real everywhere in the world. But since Vitaly has some money, can he buy his freedom? I don't think he's buying his way out of this. My Filipino brothers and sisters in the chat, you guys can back me up on this, because obviously, once again, Norbert doesn't know. Norbert's in Europe. Now, I don't think he's bribing his way out of this. Here's my reason why. Because it would inflame everybody and piss off everybody. And when you piss off the dignity of a country, there's certain situations you can't bribe your way out of when you hit a certain level of social media. This isn't like getting pulled over for drunk driving, right? This isn't like if I was to get stopped like in they're doing a breathalyzer and I was to blow over or something like that. It's not some minor thing. This is something that has hit social media mass attention. So yeah, I don't think that's likely. I don't think that's likely at all. Yeah. Too much attention. No way. Yeah. No way. No way. Everyone would be really on top of that. Rayobi says, Organization 13. We got organization. Zoolander said, target people's wallets. That'll stop the crime. Maybe it will. It will. Bang ass detention center, says V Red Fox. Mr. Gaming says they should have brought him to Tondo first. I don't know. I have to look up that prison. Let's see. Phoenix says Vitaly being Russian is better than a Russian gulag for him. I bet they can accommodate that for him and make him feel more like home. Enzo said, but Nick Requeta told him he could go around harassing Filipinos. Sweet. No, he cannot. Dynat Day says, hey, I'm from Thailand. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much. Kopun Kap. Hope Japan prosecuted Somali again for perjury after he served his time in South Korea. They did not. Malacanang, Office of the President, is already on hand with Vitaly, ready to declare persona non grata for him via Philippine Star. That's great. Call Me Katie says, maybe we make Vitaly some siapao. He can have the rejects. The Outdoor Experience says he never got his U.S. citizenship. He tried several times, was denied because of his record. He will never be a U.S. citizen. I love it. Cleodora says Vitaly saying he donated $20,000 is not an excuse for the crimes he committed. He did not buy a license to be a public nuisance. Exactly. Your dignity is not for sale, and your national dignity is not for sale. King Lao said, also your mindset on stream encouraged me so much. It makes me positive and facing my inner problems most of the day. Hey, no problem. Hey, listen, whatever problems you got, let me tell you this. You can get over them. You can get past them. Let me be real with you for a second. I've had problems in my life. I've had real dark spots in my life that have been bad. I've had spots where I've had friends pass away. I've had family members pass away. I've lost things. I've had to, end certain relationships, both friends, interpersonal, etc. There's bad problems, but you do have the power to improve, to go better, to rebuild. There are people that go 40 or 50 years and then completely rebuild their life after, going out. So there's always hope. There's always good stuff to do. I mean, I think about my channel. I would have never dreamed to be able to do this, but it is my absolute pleasure and honor to be able to help with this. And I am happy to take the flack on this. I am happy to take the hate from nuisance streamers, because that means I'm doing a good job of bringing this out there and exposing them. And they are really butthurt, which I am happy about. So my pleasure. Michael Rule said 50 minutes of shame show part of the prison. If that doesn't change him, we'll see if it changes him. We'll see. Hackfish also said, anyone crying about due process? We don't have jury trials in the Philippines. The cases are decided by a single judge or panel. Cry about it. Same with Korea. Most of them are not jury trials. There are the ability for that to happen. Most are not. Let's go to Johnny Somali. So we got some Somali news. Oh, also Japanese Demon Lord said, glad you're okay after the earthquake. Stay safe. I will. So let's go to Johnny Somali here because I've got to run after a certain point here. But one thing I want to point out is, first of all, big shout out to all the Korean language news that's been covering this. It's really amazing. One of the things they're on right now, which I think is a big question a lot of people have been asking, of course, about Hank. And oh boy, guys, tune in Monday. We are going to have an extra special Monday night Korea time. Korea and Asia time. So Monday night Asia is like Monday morning in the US, right? That is going to be an amazing episode about Johnny's legal team. I am very proud of that thumbnail. If you haven't seen that thumbnail, I just want to show that real quick here. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm very proud of it. So definitely check that one out. I don't want to spoil anything, and the timing of that is very specific because it's right before his trial, because obviously Johnny goes back to trial on the 9th. But we've got right here, let me show this. This is so good, guys. This is so good. I'm very there's few thumbnails I'm proud of, but this one I am very proud of, right? My Better Call Hank thumbnail over there, Johnny Somali's legal team. That's going to be amazing. Definitely get into that one. We're going to talk about that. I had so much fun. I've never had more fun making a thumbnail. That is up there. We're going to talk all about his legal strategies. We're going to reveal some stuff there. So definitely go over there and check that out. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. Hank as Goodman is perhaps. Mwah. Now, someone did say I should have said Better Call Seoul, but I thought about it and I'm like, it's an insult to Seoul as a city to associate them with Hank. So it's Better Call Hank. Although I do understand that does rhyme better. You know, Better Call Saul, Better Call Seoul, it rhymes, but I don't want Seoul to be dirtied by Hank, right? Hank is much worse than Seoul. Seoul is way better. Soul's way better. So that's going to be a great one. I'm hyping it a little bit here, but the hype is going to be deserved. So one of the things that's being brought up by the Korean media here is Hank. And a lot of people have asked, and a lot of you guys have asked, well, can we get Hank in trouble? And a lot of Koreans are looking for ways to go after Hank because they want him to face some consequences. So one of the things that they're looking to make him face consequences for is for carrying a weapon. He was carrying a baton. So here in the mall, this is Hank. I know he's dressed like a camouflaged adult protective device, but he's got a baton strapped on here, and he is in a mall. So that is actually something that you are not supposed to do. Also, he's wearing a PRC patch. This is a People's Republic of China, a People's Liberation Army specific patch, but he's wearing a militant patch with a baton. You can see that baton. It's like clearly visible, like right here. He's, gesturing with it, kind of threateningly, as he's trying to quote unquote protect Johnny Somali. So that's one thing that he appears to be guilty of. And that people are pointing out on the Korean side, which once again, it's great to have the locals involved in this. Just like in the Philippines with Vitaly, in Korea, when the Koreans get involved, it really escalates things. I can talk about things all I want, but when they get involved, it becomes even better. So that's come out recently. And what else do we got? Okay, we've got a couple other things. So obviously, we've been talking about Johnny Somali and what's been going on with him and his situation. And obviously, he has been there for a while. He's been sitting in Korea for a while, and part of him being in Korea was the strategy of Korea saying, "Hey, we're going to keep him there in order to wear him down." So that was their strategy in general, was to say, "Hey, we're going to wear him down, and we're going to end up costing him money because he will pay for it outside of court. He's going to have to pay for food. He's going to have to pay for staying up and legal fees and everything else. We're not going to keep him in jail." And then I posted this the other week. And let me show you. Here it is. You can see here the post from Hank that said he's running out of money, right? He's running out of money, right? And I've read this one before, but essentially Hank was begging for legal fees and was begging for support, right? Saying he was going to starve. Well, we have even more confirmation of this, both again from Hank and from Johnny, which is hilarious. And what we have here is some messages. This is just today. This is fresh off the press. So you see right here, this is Hank Yu in the Discord, is there any way for Johnny to get money right now? Hanky Poo is begging for money for Johnny today. He is just absolutely begging because Johnny is out of money. He is absolutely broke, which is exactly why he copes and sees so hard when he sees us being successful and profitable, etc., because he's got absolutely no cash. Even he is stooping to the level of saying, hey, can I stream because Johnny can't? So he literally, let's pull this up real quick. So Hank wants to start streaming on Kick to make money for his boy Johnny. So he's trying to Hank is trying to start streaming to support his boy, his boy. He's just such a good sugar daddy. And by the way, yes, this is very true. Thank you, The Truth. Thank you, everyone, for the likes, gifts, super chats. The reason Andrew can do this. Yeah, seriously, this is a lot of work, and I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you to you guys over here on Ko-Fi who supported me. This is also really important. I gotta help people travel to and from the next trial because I will not be there on the 9th. We're going to have many people coming to get the exact account. I'm going to have a full transcript. I'm going to have an instant update for you after it's done, but I will not be there. So I want to help people travel there to take notes for me, to get the transcript for me. So thank you guys for supporting me, Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire, for helping others get there and also helping with translation, etc. Getting information out to you guys. That really helps. But speaking of which, and speaking of Johnny being angry about money, we also have Johnny literally confirming that Johnny got zero money from party.com. Right? We got zero money from party.com. Watch this. This is a crazy one. So this is Johnny himself who says he's gotten no money from Party. Watch this.
I'm back on YouTube now, so I guess
Party paid you since you've been streaming on there?
I'm not gonna say anything.
How much money has Party paid you?
I'm a YouTuber!
You said Party paid you $0. Has Party paid you $0?
Zero.
Party has paid him $0. $0. So this whole party.com, this man has been running around in his underpants in public, and he has been paid not a cent for it. Can you imagine? He was literally arrested. He literally had criminal charges pressed against him in order to shout out this loser ass platform, and they have paid him this much money. Isn't that crazy? Now, that might be a lie. Maybe he has made money, right? And obviously, Party not paying him out doesn't mean he hasn't gotten TTS, which he definitely has gotten. So he has profited. So for the criteria of doing something while profiting, he has actually met that from a legal standard because he's gotten TTS, which Power Chat and all those TTS, that's a separate software. But I could believe that Party is like, once again, they're some unknown platform. I can absolutely imagine they haven't paid him out. That sounds to me very credible, right? It sounds to me like that's believable. That this guy has not seen a single dime from them. So that's the really great thing I wanted to point out, because to me that is a big update, because knowing that Johnny is not having any money was Korea's strategy. This shows Korea's strategy worked. They wanted to bleed him for every cent till he was broke. He's now broke. Korea won. Their strategy was to bleed him of money. He is broke. That was their plan. Once again, you may disagree with the overall strategy. You may say, you know what, it would have been better to lock him up because then he wouldn't embarrass the country, wouldn't harass other people. We can make that moral argument. But in terms of if your system has a goal and you've accomplished the goal, there you go, mission accomplished. They wanted to bleed him of money and they bled him for money. So they did it. W Korea, right? Korea won, Ramsey 0. Boom, they won. He hasn't got paid shit. He's broke. He's having his, BFF Hank, his room. And by the way, I even think Hank is making moves to kind of distance himself from Johnny. It appears there's been some kind of trouble in the bedroom there, in the office tell bedroom, between Hank and Johnny. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, obviously he's still trying to sugar daddy him, but I think he's kind of running out of lunch money, to give over to Ramsey. It reminds me of like high school or middle school. If your mom gave you a little extra lunch money, you might buy something to share with your friends. I'd buy my friend a Coke or something like that, just to be nice. He's from a different socioeconomic background, a little, poorer family, couldn't afford a soda, had to get the school lunch. I'm like, here, you can get a Coke. It was 25 cents back then for a Coke. Here's a quarter worth of Coke. That was back in the 90s and 2000s. Crazy stuff. But yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's get all these chats, and then we're going to get through all these answers. Bama says, get some soju for that insanity plea, plus a touch more for the RKI fund. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Peter Park for 99 cents said, here's money to make RKI seethe. Oh, he is seething. UN says, out for money, but going drinking. Yeah, that's the funny thing too. He doesn't have money, but somehow he's got money for soju. He's got money for dancing around nude. It's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. Let's see here. Susan Moody as a new member. Thank you. Big Buddhist. We need a VTuber style swear jar for the stream. Yeah. Crimson Splat says, Cathargo Delenda asked Cato the Elder. Tangerine says, can we petition the U.S. to revoke his PR? That's interesting. We could petition them. Whether or not they'll do it is up there. Siegfried says, the problem is U.S. no laws against streamers BS. But the U.S., people don't do it in the U.S. for two reasons. Number one, we have strong self-defense laws. In many states, someone might shoot you if you were to do the things that these nuisance streamers did. If that woman went up to a elderly woman in Texas and was to harass her like that and say, I'm going to rob you, depending on the way he did that and how he was, it might be reasonable for a little old lady who is half the size and a quarter of the weight to feel like her life is in danger by a larger man. And I'm just saying that's when stand your ground laws come into play. Pew, pew, pew. Like that stuff happens. We've covered this on this channel like many times where there's a situation like that. And mind you, that is a situation in which you could be in a reasonable fear for your life. If you're a little old lady and some giant roided out dude is trying to threaten to rob you, and he's within grabbing distance, he's within touching distance. Once again, self-defense, and Asia doesn't have those same laws. Understand. Now, Philippines does have different laws in other countries, right? They're more gun friendly. That's true. But that's why I say they don't do this in the U.S. for a reason. That's why a lot of these people don't do this. Ancien for 10 says 10 euros says, in my opinion, I wouldn't care less about the remorse or excuses. The streamers think their pitiful notoriety gives them the right to do whatever they want without consequences. Yes, they think their clout makes them immune. Spicy Caesar says for 250 Philippine pesos, thank you. Says, okay, but what is it about nuisance streamers having such supremely punchable faces? Vitaly and Ishmael look like they're one brain cell working overtime. Well, they're smug. The thing is about them is they think they're smart. They're not intelligent people, but they're not the stupidest. They're in the middle bracket, right? I think Ramsey is probably a little bit smarter than Vitaly. Vitaly is kind of taking some punches to the face, so he's probably missing some brain cells from that too. But they think they're smart and they think they know how to get away with it, but they really don't, and they're not, as we're going to see. Muin Danji says for 20, he sees RKI getting pressed and desperately wanted to become relevant again. Vitaly hasn't been relevant in the internet equivalent of a century. That might be it. And to be honest, that's a good message. So if Vitaly's intent was to become a Somali copycat, he needs to be disincentivized from that, right? Anybody who will be a Somali part 2 needs to be disincentivized. Let's see here. Earning 0 for 50 Aussie for canned meat. Thank you for the big one. Says, should we be taking that with a grain of lie? It could be against the law to earn while locked in LK without the correct visa. It is. Being coached by Alex, guy's got to be in his bonnet about party. Yeah, I think we could take that with a grain of salt, which is why I threw out there that you can believe that or not believe that. But regardless, he's making money from TTS. So even if he wasn't making money from party, he's still making money from TTS, which is in violation of South Korean law. So he's violating the law by earning money because he's making TTS while he's there. That's work. Simple as that. Michael for 20 euros. Danka says, money for Johnny. Too bad, Hank. I just donated a legal mindset. Hell yeah. Hold on. I'll get the Johnny reaction to this. I'll get the Johnny.
Oh, hell no. Oh.
Thank you so much. Zudlanda says, better call Tom Cruise. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Have a good weekend, Legal Mindset in chat. Hey, thank you. The Cast Man for 777 says, sounds like they need to start showering their buttonholes on OnlyFans. I don't want to see a Vitali or a Somali OnlyFans. That's an arc I don't want to go down. So let's stay away from that. Rayobi says, legal mindset number 1. Ramsey, number 50. Korea number 1. Hank has got too many Balut. I don't have a problem with Balut. Balut is all right. It's all right. Razor Wire Piercing says, hello from Maryland. I was having a terrible day until now. Just tuned in and my day is much better. Keep up the coverage. Hey, Korea gets the W. Thank you, Razor Wire Piercing. And by the way, I hope you have a wonderful day out there, guys. You're just watching me and supporting the channel, smashing a like. It really helps me. And without the support of all of you out there, I couldn't do this. And frankly, the amount of attention and sharing that you've done and sharing my clips, sharing my information, sharing my streams with others has truly helped get these people and bring them to justice, which ultimately is my goal. Yes, it's good to be compensated, especially more than they are for this. Yes, of course, that's nice. Everybody likes to get paid for what they do. But my goal is to stop this from the beginning has been to stop people like RKI and their ilk from bringing this particularly to Asia, where they think people are polite, they think they're pushovers, and they think they're weak. And what's amazing is both the South Korean people and the Filipinas are showing the world that they are anything but weak, which is awesome. Solace for 5 says, can Somali get in more legal trouble if they find out it's earning money? Yes. Now, whether or not they bring that is a question. On Monday, I'm going to talk a lot how serious of shit, and I'm going to swear jar that. How deep of the shit he's in. He's in big trouble. Czar Static says, been here since Niji. Love your work. Any chance you're theorizing on the potential max sentence for Ramsey based on everything he's done? It's probably not going to happen, but it's fantasy. Let's do that after this next date. So let's talk about sentencing after April 9th. So there's obviously a range. He can get up to 17 years based on the current charges, potentially even maybe a little bit more. He could get up to 20.5. If they decide to go a certain route with it, depending on how they charge the deepfakes. Because remember, for the deepfakes, Ramsey has multiple deepfakes he made, not just Bong Bong, but all the Nuisance streamers. So we'll see how that goes. It's too early to do that. I know everyone likes numbers, but to be honest, every time I say a number, all the other channels take it wildly out of context, so I'm not doing it because I get misquoted like crazy, and it's crazy. Sigrun said, did Rackets really say it's legal to harass people in other countries? There's no ways that's stupid. He made some sort of statement that Ralph could do whatever he wanted because he's in Mexico, which was so stupid. This guy, just to understand, he's technically still a lawyer, barely. I don't know if he's paid his CLEs, but this U.S. attorney who was also a streamer, once a very big streamer, now very unsuccessful, he told a gentleman who fled to Mexico that he could do whatever he wanted and stream whatever he wanted, even though a U.S. judge said don't stream the trial. So this guy went and streamed information, stream stuff, and the judge said, I'm issuing a warrant for you. If you come to the U.S., you're going to get hauled in. And this guy who freaked out, he had to come to a settlement with the court, all sorts of crazy stuff. So yeah. Ancian for £5 says, I think that should be treated like Theon Greyjoy by Ramsey Bolt. Wes Overracker said, what do you think the odds are RKI tries to Joe Dresdnock himself over the 38th parallel? I don't know who Joe Dresdnock is, but I'm assuming you're saying flee over the 38th parallel. He doesn't have the balls to do that. Call Me Katie says, Hank, the camo gimp. Maximus, thank you for the 25 Filipino pesos. Thank you so much. And shout out to everybody who's in the Philippines. I just want to say it's been awesome to have such support from everybody, especially for the folks that came out and gave me true advice. You guys are awesome. And the Filipinas and Filipinos, you guys are amazing. You work extremely hard. You're on this. You shared this. You got on top of this. The Philippines deserves the W for this 100%, and deserves to say, hey, listen, you want to come to the Philippines? We're going to treat you with respect. We're going to treat you with hospitality. You're going to have a great time in the Philippines. You want to come here and disrespect us? You're going to learn real quick. You're going to learn real quick. Shrike 21 with 50 legal mindset memberships. You know what they're doing right now.
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you see.
They definitely can't believe it. Thank you so much, Shrike. Fitty Tucker says, I'm calling it. RKI no shows on the 9th. Every Nuisance streamer gets consequence except Ice Poseidon. He's a slippery one. Well, Ice had some consequences. Obviously, he's banned from the Kingdom of Thailand. I mean, if he came back here, he'd probably go to jail again for a very, very long time, even if he could, which he can't. But beyond that, they're going to get consequences. And once again, life has a way of your consequences coming around long tail. And when you are a person who constantly puts yourselves in these positions, it's only a matter of time. Chris VF for 10 says, did you see the new announcement from RKI? He's going to create an account on only cabbages. No one's subscribing to that. No one's subscribing to that. Rayobi says, honestly, this is a good lesson not to F around in foreign countries and act like a soft citizen, getting your ass handed to you. And RKI can pick up all the cabbages, and Vitaly can get out all the balut he can eat. Oof. NIP says, Tempe bon crec for Vitaly. I don't know what that is. I have to look that up. Larry Powers for 5 says, the picture of Hank reminds me of the scene from Pulp Fiction. Bring out the gimp. Yes. Tick Tick Boom says, Hank, finally I made it to China. I'm safe. CCP. The new organ donor has arrived. Doge says, thoughts on Carl Jobst, Billy Mitchell? I need more time on that one. Sorry, I've been really busy on this. Sorry. Chill says, do you think Hank pitches or catches? Who knows? And there's some video footage of him apparently kissing Ramsey a lot. I don't know I don't know how I missed this, but I was told by somebody who's reviewing tape, like, during this video, like Ramsey and Hank are constantly kissing each other. So I'm like, wait, what? Huh? So I got to review that video. That's something I got to check out later. I don't know whether I'm glad or not. I don't have that video right now, but somebody kept telling me that. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, it'll be a future stream, guys, future stream. Virat Fox for 5 says, Hank is an insult. I see what you did there. Raby said, stream what, Hank? Your bum? Everyone knows your stamp. Oof. Teabag JT says, I don't know if it's because I'm in the medical field, but every time I hear insanity plea, I'm slowly losing my mind. Soon I shall revert back to monkey because I'm going bananas. Do not, I know you're going crazy, but don't revert back to monkey. We don't need more monkey behavior. Thank you. Razorkun for 30 Malaysian ringgit. Thank you so much. Those mommy and daddy money is for Samyang noodles and 7-Eleven snacks. Hank, the snack money is going to legal mindset now. Yeah, baby. We're going to get that black bean noodle soup out there. It's going to be great. Nancy John says, poor Juanito. No! Jopie says, are you going to watch the Ramsey documentary if it comes out? Will that be your review? No, I probably won't. It's kind of irrelevant. If there's clips or some other stuff like that, but not frankly, I have so much footage, even stuff I don't want. It's not relevant and legally relevant. What I want to watch is him go to jail. So I'm not here to like permanently A-log, i.e. catalog Ramsey's life. I'm not here to be his fanboy. I'm here to put this guy behind bars, right? Or get this guy having consequences. That's what I'm really concerned about. So my coverage of Ramsey goes up until we have a sentence. And after that, I mean, we're kind of done with him, right? I don't need to stay obsessing with Ramsey for 5 or 6 years. In fact, my time is better spent moving on to other people that are doing things that are illegal and problematic around the world, and also other cases and other problems, right? I've covered lots of things, and there's lots of other things that need to be covered, right? So I'm not going to be covering Ramsey for 5 years, right? Despite what people say or whatever else. Like, you can see even with Vitaly, like, I'm happy to cover other people. It doesn't have to be about Ramsey all day, every day. The problem with Ramsey is he makes it easy, right? Come to party will make you famous. Infamous, says Phoenix DS. Thank you for the Canadian 5. Thank you for the big support today, Phoenix. Willie Pierce from 499 says, almost like these guys want to make you famous. They're actually trying to help me. At this point, I actually believe that Ramsey, like, I think in some level he knows he's giving me content, which is crazy, but he does it through illegal actions, right? I'm really concerned with that, and that's what he keeps doing. Rayobi said Dresnok was one of the few Americans who defected to PRK. He became an actor that portrayed the evil. I guess he put out there the evil American theme more than the story. Okay, interesting. Nancy John says, I hate it when Cabbage Boy says I'm an American. That's bullshit. Well, I mean, he has a U.S. passport, and I believe he is a naturalized citizen, so he can say that. But obviously, he's got an interesting background. John Daniel Escarga says it's election season, and the president is already in the case with Vitali. Good luck to him. Who's next for nuisance streamers? We'll see. To be honest, I'm concerned with nuisance streamers that are breaking the law. And if we find a nuisance streamer breaking the law, I will cover them. Not just because they're mean or whatever. I mean, that's bad, and I don't like that. But I'm really concerned with them when they cross the line between legal and illegal. And I do think, by the way, that the country should make more types of behavior illegal. I do agree with that. Phoenix says, do you hear about the wife of one of the Ghost Adventures teams hired a hitman to off her husband? What? Copycat for 10 pounds says, legal mindset. How will you ever think to become a specifically live streamer VTuber attorney? Or would you lose financially if you focus on one stream, live stream VTubers? No, you can focus on many topics. Many content creators cover multiple things. I probably will split out my coverage when I do more like of that sort of stuff. Once I get the VTubing up, we'll probably have that there'll definitely be a separate channel. And also will be more variety because I'll do other stuff, right? I'll do some other fun stuff that I want to reach out and do. As a content creator, sometimes you want to comment on serious things. The law is pretty serious. That's what this channel is for. But sometimes you want to have fun. And I like to have fun too, right? But in ways that don't harm others. Astro Creep says, justice for Magneto. Skull! Ryan says, Johnny Somali, the alley cat. Sketch Therapy says, what's new with Disney and law? I love this content. Disney hasn't done too much. There's some lawsuits you're still tied up in. The Gina Carano lawsuit's still going, but hasn't been a lot big for me to cover, really. Snow White bombed. That's not really legal. Max Power for 5 pounds says maybe party isn't paying him because they fear legal repercussions. That could be true. Mears 2010 says, for 6 Malaysian ringgit, the best news on my birthday, down to Slum Molly. TMB says, for $2.79, no money, jail time, and fines, straight to the cabbage farm. That's true. Remember, if he has no money and he gets fined and he cannot pay the fine, he has to work it off. Or he's got to wait until he can pay it, right? He's got a choice. He can just wait in the country till he has to pay it or go work it off. And that's where the cabbage farm comes up. Rare and Recruit for $4.99 says, relationships built on money tend to lose meaning when the wealth dries up. Morgana, Persona 5, Bank of Gluttony. That's a very deep Persona quote. Thank you. I like that. Enzo the Italian says, care to explain the cabbage meme? Sorry, I'm off and on since Johnny Somali. I'm catching up quick. Yeah, I explained it in a past video, and we've explained it a lot. But essentially, in Korea, forced labor is still a thing. So if you owe money as a fine, they can force you to work. Now, Korea thought about removing that, but they actually haven't removed that as a provision. So they can force you to work to pay off your fines. Now, they can't force you, i.e. they can say, go work, and if you do the work, you get paid. But they can't like whip you or, whatever to get you to work. They can't torture you, right? But they can say, okay, you've got to work, and they can send you out to do work. One of the things they're sending people out to do is agricultural work. They also send people for road work and industrial work, but one thing is agricultural work, which is cabbages because that's a large product. That is in fact a very real thing. There's a lack of agricultural workers, so they're using prisoner workers for agricultural work. That's a real thing. Jay for 10 says, is there any reason why South Korea doesn't use a jury system as to say and do what let's just listen to the evidence of the judge? The judge still considers evidence. So the judge considers evidence. In fact, to be honest with you guys, I think the South Korean system in a way is more efficient than the American system, because for most petty crimes, you don't need a jury. Okay, let me put it this way. Let me just give you an example of a crime in the U.S. In the U.S., we have a crime of driving with a suspended license. That's a crime in the U.S. In fact, in Florida, if you do it 3 times, it's a felony. Why do you need a full jury to decide when somebody drive with a suspended license. Either they did or they didn't. That's literally the element of the crime. Were you driving? Yes. Was your license suspended? Yes. That's it. That's all the evidence they need. So I don't think you need a jury for these things. But in the US, we're like, because we have certain rights and principles, it's like, well, no, we're going to give you a jury crime. I think South Korea looks at it and says, okay, if it's a very severe crime, we're going to give you a jury, right? But if it's at the lower level, you really don't need a jury for that. It's not efficient. It's not an efficient use of people's time. And it doesn't make it as serious, right? So I do think there's plus and minuses. Once again, the U.S. is not perfect. I don't think our system is necessarily perfect. So, you know, some things the U.S. does well, some of us we don't, but our system is not like unflawed, right? And certainly if you're just concerned about efficiency, like there's a really good argument for that some of these things should not really be dealt with by a full jury, but we do. It's the U.S., right? Will you be the next? No, I will not be there on April 9th. I will not be there on April 9th. However, I have multiple people that are going to attend the court. So I will have instant reports from that. I will be at other court dates. I'm not going to say which ones I'm going to, but I will say this one I will not be there for sure. So, but in the future, if people ask me, I'm just going to say I may be there, may not, because I want to freak Johnny out. And making Johnny uncomfortable is something I love. Forever Summer is a new member. Thank you. Dark Static says Disney Chrono also has big development rediscovery. Maybe later stream. Maybe later. Melanie Guerrero says, are you familiar keeping up with New Jeans lawsuit? I have heard about it, but I need to get more details. So people have asked me about that. Maybe I'll look into it. Sounds interesting. David Young says, a year ago, a prank streamer was shot in America. I believe it. Mango Taipei for 75 new Taiwanese dollars. Is there a cap on sentence length before deporting? Like if RKI gets even more years, will court just deport? And no, he has to serve his time. So they would make him serve before he leaves. They're not going to give him a 30-year sentence. He's going to have to serve his time if he gets issued time before he leaves. There have been instances of people that have been given time, even Americans. Mika for $6.99 Canadian. I noticed these clowns don't pull stuff in Singapore or Brunei. Basically, no place caning happens. Yeah, Malaysia too. They don't fuck around. There's a reason. Frank Pareto says, I'm late. It's more fun in the Philippines. Frank, thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for your emails, brother. Thank you very much for that. Guys, say thank you to Frank. Frank sent me some really good information. Thank you for that. I got all the emails. Maria Angelo Aguinaldo. For 5 Singapore. Bless your kind soul, Filipino from Singapore. Hey, thank you so much. And please enjoy Singapore. Lovely city. Love the people. Love the culture. Love the chicken rice. Hope you're doing well there. Hope the weather's good there in Singapore. And appreciate all the Filipinos abroad. I love there's a sign in the airport that's like, welcome back our overseas heroes for all because there's so high percentage of Filipinos and Filipinas working abroad, right? Whether that's in the US or rest of Asia. So I think it's kind of awesome, as an expat to, have big love for those others that are expats kind of working abroad and supporting their families, supporting people back home. I think that's really an amazing thing. And it's really awesome to see that love. Jay for £5 says, sorry, I can't send much. Love your coverage on the Idiot IRL streams. No, thank you for that. Thank you for your message, Jay. I appreciate you. Whether you send £1 or 5 or just leave a like and a comment, it all helps. Cam Popplestone says, could there be an argument that stream donations aren't specifically earnings that are given by individuals as a gift and not an employee? You can argue that, Cam, but I don't think that's a winning argument. I think you can argue a lot of things, but I think that's a cope. And I think most courts have said, you're earning money, it's work. Sparks has said RK is using Power Chat IRL for it. Yeah, he's using some sort of text to speech for stream money. He has made money through that. He made like $30 to get drunk before his court date. We have that on tape. We have proof of that. It's clear. Bama for 10 says, if Somali winds up getting fined, how will the funds be distributed? Will any of the business he gets distributed to get the money for the losses? This is where Korea's system is flawed. And once again, I'm honest, this isn't a bad take, but I think it's a little flawed. So the Korean system, those fines go to the government. They do not go to compensating the harmed businesses. So for example, the convenience store, they're not getting paid. If they wanted to get money themselves, they could bring a civil suit against them, which they're not going to do because it's very time intensive, expensive. You have to give a huge deposit, right? That's not going to happen. They're not going to do a civil suit against Johnny Somali, like period, end of story. So it'll go to the government which will repay them for probably the costs of investigating this. Johnny has had some very powerful people. We're going to get into it Monday. He's had some very powerful people investigating him. So you got to compensate those people. So that's going back to the police time that was spent dealing with this human trash. Dar Static said, just adding Supas to make Ramsey seethe. How about that insanity play? Yeah, how about that play? Somali stretched bumhole for 5 says his court date on the 9th will do what exactly? He's pled guilty with more charges piling up. At what point will they jail him? Sentencing will be months from now. He has not pled guilty to his second obstruction charge or his deepfake charge. So on the 9th, he's going to have to plead guilty or not guilty to his second obstruction charge and his deepfake charge. They slow roll it in Korea. So that's all that's going to happen. All that's going to happen is he pleads guilty or not guilty. He is not going to be sentenced on that day. And once again, this is something that I know because I've spent time talking to people that know about Korean law and Korean lawyers. Hank, the unofficial lawyer for Johnny Somali, doesn't know shit. And we're going to find out on Monday. We're going to talk more about it. But his quote unquote paid lawyer, who is still not, as of this day, this quote unquote paid lawyer has still not registered officially as Johnny's lawyer. So we know that he had a consultation with a lawyer, but that lawyer hasn't registered officially. What's called in the US a notice of appearance. In Korea, it's called registration. So that means he may not even be in court at all, right? And beyond that, he may be embarrassed to be RKI's attorney and not want his name associated with him because he knows he'll get shit. So he's not even officially, he still only has a public defender legally. Legally, the only person representing him in court is a public defender, regardless of whether he paid for a cheap consultation by a strip mall Korean lawyer, by a Goodman level Korean lawyer. We'll talk more about that on Monday. I have a lot to tell you guys on Monday. Vitaly complete insanity. Hank advising? That'd be funny. Gigafy, it says, hey, Andrew, will Trump's new immigration policy shenanigans, what happened? The U.S. refused to take RKI back. They won't. You can't refuse a citizen. They won't do that. But that is a funny comment, but no. Ditzy says Hank versus Ramsey. Hank and Ramsey kiss. No, hold on. I got you here.
No. Wait.
Stella Raiders. What's up, Stella? For 20,001. What is that? Iman Wan. Gamsamnida. Says, I am Korean. I hated Somali, but now I feel pity for him. I don't think he's evil, just taking the wrong path. But I hope he lives a precious life more seriously. I pray for him and thank you, sir, for your bouquet. No, my pleasure. I will say this, Stella, just be very careful with that quote unquote pity, because he is a person who takes advantage of people who feel pity. So what he will do is he will make you feel, oh my God, I'm taken advantage of. I'm such a poor person. And then as soon as he leaves Korea, he will insult your country. He will insult people like you as weak. And he will make negative comments about you. This is exactly what he did in Japan. He did this in Israel. He does this in every country. It's a recipe. He takes advantage of people's pity and your kindness, and he uses that against you. He takes advantage of kind people. He tries to show this softer side to get out of trouble, and then he'll go and repeat it and do it again. And in order to stop him from doing this, he's got to feel some consequences. So be very, very careful with that. And listen, I get it. I'm not telling you to become a horrible person or whatever, or not to have empathy. It's good to be empathetic, but just be very careful and guarded with that. If you allow yourself to be emotionally manipulated by these people, they're going to get away with murder. They really will. I mean, in this case, I mean, they're just going to escalate their behavior. You have to be careful with these people. It's like the most toxic of relationships. Like, imagine it as like literally the most toxic relationship you could have. Lee for 10 says, do you believe the court may only sentence him less than a year since there's no minimum? I don't know. They could sentence him to 1 month. They could sentence him to 1 week or 1 day in jail. I don't think if they're going to give him jail time, it's not going to be 1 day. Could it be 1 month? Sure. Could it be 6 months? Sure. Could it be 8 months? Sure. It could. I'm not going to say, I've never said they couldn't just give him 1 month. They could. It's possible. I hope it's not likely. I don't advocate for that, but you know, Rayobi said, I mean, after the K-Town, no one wants Hank to BH. Hank just keeps digging himself in. Gary Lee, what's up, Gary? As a Korean, what's up? I guess you're Kopo. You're in the U.S., yeah? I'm surprised Hank is not disowned by his family. Mine will disown me if I was a criminal being friends with Ramsey. He's the black sheep. He's the stupid cousin. You know, he's still your family, so you got to take care of him. In all the crime, you know, if you've ever watched like a crime movie and they've got like that stupid cousin that gets him in trouble, but they have to protect him because he's family, and you have to say family is important. That's Hank. Hank is the dumb one in the family. Castman 777 for 5 says, can the U.S. refuse to take Vitaly since he's a permanent resident, not a citizen? They would have to revoke his status as a permanent resident. If they did that, maybe. Ken Meat said, on the note of smooches, I'm out. Work at 7. Hey, nice to see you. Have an awesome stream. Peace all. Take care of each other. Thank you so much. And thank you for your big support of this channel. Ken Meat, thank you for your big supa today. Much appreciated. Thank you for that. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure says, do you think Johnny Somalia is going to get Trump to bail him out of Korea similar to Biden got Brittany Griner out of Russian jail? This is not a political thing. Johnny is not MAGA. He calls himself George Floyd as much as he puts on the Trump hat, right? Johnny Somali does as much stuff on the left as he does on the right. He has no political compass. He believes in nothing. No, Trump is not saving this guy at all, period. No. Zodlander for 50 Swedish krona says, it's very simple. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. It was known then and should be known now. Thank you, Somali, for teaching the next generation this lesson. Phoenix says, Aaron Goodwin's wife was the one who hired a hitman. She didn't want to go through a divorce proceedings and wanted to click split. Killing your ex is not what you should be doing. Or Siegel says, thanks to whoever gifted me. Compact Rowan says, catching up with 2XP while placing a furnace AC. Thank you. Jason Newleft said, the lawyer probably saw the paper and said, hell nah. Likely not a legal monkey. Razorwire Piercing said the guy who confronted Vitaly in a stream started a channel a couple days ago and has 7K subs. Unlock Philippines. Cool. Give some love to that guy. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll look that up a little bit later. But thank you for that. Wes Overratcher said, hey, what would happen if Ramsey hopped the 38th? He would die. He would be shot. Straight up. Kid Loco said, hey, salutations from Florida. Believe in the, did you say panty cult? Okay. Well, shout out to a fellow Floridian. Clotho V. Melonian. Hey, what's up, Clotho? For 5 Canuck bucks. Says, try a non-flavored soju for the first time. It was great. Cheers, LM. Thanks for coming. Hey, my pleasure. Thank you. And I love all the content creators that come over to my channel. I appreciate having you guys here. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy my coverage. And I am so happy that people use my information and spread it out there for the world, because we need to stop these people. We really, truly do. Gary said, my mom is Korean. I'm a U.S. citizen. Boo, Hank. Oh, well, shout out. Well, you, Gary, you are something that Hank will never be. Hank wishes he could be you. He destroyed his ability to become a U.S. citizen. He literally tanked it with 7 felonies that he tried to appeal to the Supreme Court of the U.S. and failed. He is so salty that he will never be the American that he LARPed, he role-played as being. He is just going to be an absolute loser for the rest of his life. He's going to try to flee to the CCP. They're not going to want him. He's going to be just somebody who's living on mommy's money till he's dead. Sneaky Blinder for 10 Polish Zlota says, Hank plus RKI Brothers Home Season 2. I would watch. Rebus is off topic. VTuber debut when? Soon. No, it'll probably be a couple months, like a month or two. Frankly, the RKI stuff has really been keeping me busy. So it's been hard. So yeah, people are trying to say I read you on locals. People are trying to say Party paid him. That was coming from him. So he had said publicly Party paid him and he had this contract. But remember, Ramsey lies. So, Ramsey lies. And remember that statement he was saying, I'm not sure that he thought that statement was going to get out because it wasn't on his stream. So I think that I would believe that he hasn't made any money over that he has made 10,000. I actually believe he's made none. I genuinely believe he's made none. Rayabi says, I think that Ramsey is like Envy from Full Metal Alchemist. They can't understand compassion and they get away with everything until the end. It's a good comparison. All right, guys. Well, guys, stay based. Take care. One more here. Dark Static for 10 says, as an attempt to lighten everything up, where do bad rainbows go? To prison. It's a light sentence, but it gives them a chance to reflect. Good one, Dark Static. Thank you. And Baba Yao, thank you for the $2.99. Guys, I will be back on Monday for sure. We also may have a members only stream, a BLM level stream over the weekend, but I'm going to take a little break here. Enjoy it. I've got family here, friends here. So I'm going to be busy the next day or two. Take care, enjoy, and I will catch you all in the next one. Let's leave with a little bit of coping and some.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. You're coping the ceiling. The truth it is all day, and now you are more